Hello and welcome to episode 102 of the FPL Hangover podcast, where we raise the bar and lower the tone on things FPL related. We're coming to you live from Limerick City, Ireland. It is the 8th of February and the Leeds Crystal Palace match has just finished, so Game Week 23 is in the bag. We're going to discuss how that worked out for both of us. We're going to have a look at Game Week 24, but before I can do any of that, please allow me to introduce the birthday boy and my podcast partner in crime, Seamus. How are you getting on, my friend?
Yeah, really well, really well. I've had a good Monday night. Birthday was yesterday, so I can't say I had a good birthday as well. Points coming in after what I would say is probably a poor start to the game week. Finished off quite well.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really judge a game week until the fat lady has sang. So, it all worked out in the end. How did your game week 23... Actually, no, first, how did your birthday go?
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot you can do. So it was just stuff my face with cake and no beer because I kind of have to be on alert in case the missus kind of goes into labor at any minute, I suppose. So I probably shouldn't really just be sculling pints. So yeah, no beer, but a lot of no secco, so sparkly, bubbly stuff that makes me feel like I'm drinking, but not actually causing any effect. And lots of cake and lots of like tons of shite. I'd say I'm about a stone heavier than I was last week. Just the amount of fucking Doritos and chocolate and stuff.
I gave you
So
shit
the big
off the air. I was saying to you, you should be getting plastered. This is the one time you can drink drive without any, feeling bad or worrying about the guards pulling you over. You just fly past them. They can follow you to the regional if they want, but once you pull a pregnant lady, going into labour out of the back of your car, I don't think they'll have too many questions for you. So, make the most of it while you can, James.
Here's my get out of jail free card. Maybe I should take advantage of it. But I think I'm probably more worried about my wife kicking my ass if I was drunk when she needed me to drop her to hospital than the guards, I think. So
Yeah,
probably
that's
stab me with a coat hanger.
that's fair enough. Yeah, so you're not drinking. I am drinking. I'm drinking some lovely Leffe tonight. It's a little bit, gas station beer for any of you snobs out there, but it's fancy to me, and I haven't had it in ages. It's really nice. But my game week 23 was pretty okay as well. I think I'm on 80 odd points. You are, I think, up and around the same score, yeah?
Yeah, I'm on 84. It looks like, assuming that Dallas gets those three bonus. So he got an assist in the first 5 minutes in tonight's game. So he ended up with 12 points. And look, that's, I'm kind of, I've done well this weekend. A lot of my points have been across the back, but could have been even better. Could have been even better. We'll get to that in a while, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, we might as well get to it now. What was your highlights and your lowlights this week, Seamus?
The highlight this week, let me pull up my team. I'm kind of forgetting already. Oh. Yeah, no, my highlight this week was definitely Gundogan because he's still not that highly owned. And before that City game, I was what? I was on a red arrow, but that game really turned around. So like, it just showed the effect that he would have. I think his ownership is still not too high overall. It's 23.9% as it stands. I think in the top 10K, it's probably closer to 40 or maybe 50%. But it still makes a huge effect. That's his effective ownership. No one's really captaining him, so it's big jumps up the rankings every time he scores. When he missed the penalty, I was like, all right, this week so far, I've had a red card, I've had a missed penalty. This is going terribly. You don't have him. I'm trying to catch you in our mini league. Just trying to save some face at least, get close to you, lay a glove on you.
Not
You were
this week,
pulling
bitch.
away, but then I was like, Gundogan, that's 13 points Joe doesn't have at all. So that was my highlight. But the low light was leaving points on the bench
Yeah, I have your
in a
bench
big
up,
way.
and I have your bench up on the screen there, and you left a good heavy 20 21 pointer sitting there. Talk us through it, man.
Yeah, well, look, I wasn't going to play double City defense, even though I was backing City to win to nil. I wasn't going to bench Salah because look, he's on penalties, and in these type of games, there's always a chance of a penalty, and so it happened. So it actually happened there. Both teams got a penalty. Gundogan on penalties, I was like, nice one, handy 7 or 8 points here. Sure, he only went and missed it. So to see him actually come back and score after losing the clean sheet, and that was kind of quite grand. I'm happy I benched Stones, but I also my transfer this week was to get Pope in. Once I saw the double game week had been announced, I was like, right, I'm having Burnley. Probably going to captain Pope next week. I'm kind of wavering on it now because he blanked obviously,
You were going to
but I
captain
got
him.
him in. Oh yeah, yeah. I think there's like 2 clean sheets, at least one clean sheet
Oh.
next week. And when he gets a clean sheet, he's kind of floors like 8 points, 9 points.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I might just get him in. Like, he's good for a good 14, 15 points next week. So that was my plan. So I get him in now early before he's benched. I wasn't going to get me in. I looked at my defense and I don't want to change any of those defenders until like the game week 26 kind of comes up, in which case I'll get rid of Cresswell at that point.
Why would you?
So
I'm
yeah,
looking at your defense here. There's like 999, potentially 12, obviously for Dallas, but 99, asterisk 12, and
yeah.
a blank for Cancelo. That's some fucking
There,
performance.
there would have been another 9, except I benched Martinez, and that was the problem. My transfer this week, I don't mind my transfer, but it just left me with a benching headache. Martinez Pope. Got Martinez last week. Was delighted to finally get him in. I thought the Arsenal game was a pretty good fixture, but just on paper, the Brighton game was a better one. And actually, you know what? I looked at it afterwards to see was it a bad decision. Brighton only had 2 shots on target the whole game. One of them was from Dunk, who ended up scoring. They had the lowest XG of. Well, I don't know how Palace have got on tonight actually in the XG rankings, but before tonight's game, of the 18 teams that had played, Brighton had the lowest XG of any team at like 0.52 according to the Fantasy Football Scouts members area. And yeah, that was lower than everyone, even lower than Sheffield United. So I kind of chose the team with the poorest offense to back a clean sheet against, but it just obviously didn't happen. So yeah, that was a kick in the stones. But the other thing then was the rest of my team was difficult to choose who to bench, and it was happy to just bench one City defender. So Stones was on my bench, but then I didn't really want to bench Calvert-Lewin. He was playing my team. United my team. Didn't want to back a player to score against him. Was always going to play Souček. So it kind of came down to Justin or Calvert-Lewin. And Justin just seemed like a nailed-on clean sheet against Wolves, who have just been really, really poor lately. Never looked like scoring. So I said I'm going to back him, and I'm just going to back United to keep out Calvert-Lewin. And if they hadn't conceded a last-minute goal, it would have been 5 points on my bench. But that last-minute goal was a 7-point swing because he got the 3 bones then after that, obviously.
Yeah, a real kick in the stones, as you said, especially when it's against your own team and you've got him benched. It's extra painful. It's like, no, not 12 points just sitting there. I was similar. I played him, but I was similarly, fucking fuming at the last goal that United conceded. You never want to see that. It's a basic rule of FPL that football comes first for the majority of fancy Premier League managers. And
Yeah.
I would have taken a Calvert-Lewin red card over United dropping those 2 points.
Did you celebrate that Calvert-Lewin goal knowing that I didn't have him in FPL? You're not looking down as far as I am, are
Nah,
you,
I'm not
prick?
looking that far down. No. What are you, like 80, 90 points? No. I'm not celebrating anyone. Like, I was fucking pissed when they scored. The girlfriend can attest to that. No. And I don't know why. I think it's just I've seen United conceding late goals and dropping points far too often over the last couple of years. I kind of was looking at this free kick going, all right, just come on, lads, this is it. One more bit of pull the finger out and you're sorted. And no, bullshit from David De Gea once again. And
Terrible.
absolutely. But this is what, the third time this season, second or third time in the last 2 years at least, where he's refused to grow a pair of balls and come out like a goalkeeper should,
himself.
and he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, the first goal was the worst offense, I think. I would say, because it gave Everton like the momentum to try and get back into the game. They came back level when they had no right to be level. United were well on top. Bruno scored a fucking worldly goal. He was my captain. I was delighted. Everything was going well in the world. Then that goal and the second goal a couple of moments later, I was like, yeah, all the fucking hard work United have been doing here. And Everton, I heard other people saying, was Gary Neville saying Everton are approaching the game well and playing well against United on Sky Sports? I thought they played terrible. I thought they didn't lay a glove on United and then just came out played well for a 5 to 7 minute spell at the start of the second half. Got 2 quick-fire goals. United took over again and then last-minute sucker punch. So, yeah, that was a Saturday. It was the day before my birthday. That kind of left me in a bad mood that night. It actually really impacted my mood more than any other United result in probably months.
Well, because you have that juxtaposition of United. I would agree with you. I think United were very, very dominant in that match. It was a joy to watch. At least the first half was a joy to watch as a United fan. Not so much as a non-Fernandes captainer. I was kind of going, oh shit, I could have made a mistake here. But we'll get onto that later on. But yeah, first half as a United fan, you're delighted. You're seeing a fucking peach by Fernandes. Cavani's got on the score sheet again. You know, it was all kind of coming together. And yeah, 10 minutes in the second half, Everton, you know, kind of came out of the traps on fire. And did I do two analogies there? Out of the traps, on fire. But yeah, they came out all guns blazing. There's a third one. And yeah, fucking 2 goals all of a sudden. I was thinking, shit, this is game on. But no, United did come back into it. As you said, Seamus, I didn't feel too worried once they got the third goal. It was pretty much United. So I'm not surprised it pissed you off. Instead, it pissed me off. I definitely wasn't celebrating no fucking DCL 12-pointer. Knowing you had him on your bench definitely cheered me up a little bit, more so than him getting the points, just knowing that you weren't getting the points. I was like, that always makes me happy, but I'm a petty man that way. So I assume,
what about Bruno's goal? How good was that?
yeah, that was a fucking peach, you know, just everything from the blase step over to the you know, to the finish. It was just a fucking peach. And I hope it shut some of the, you know, anti-Bruno crowd up with the penalties, referee. We said it on last week's episode. It's like, what match are you watching? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm full of bias when it comes to United. I recognise that I might be blinded to some things, but not to the likes of Bruno Fernandes. Like, even the father, who's a staunch Liverpool fan, turns around and says, not recently, but, you know, he turned around a couple of weeks ago and said, like, you know, he's just a fucking world-class player. So to hear that kind of anti-Bruno minority voice around the place, I hope this fucking goal shuts him a little bit up. But in general, I think those who do have DCL, they'll be happy. There was a lot of people kind of worried, you know, they got him in for the Newcastle game, 2 game weeks ago, blanked. Then he delivers 9 points last week, and this week's at 12 points. So coming into that double game week 24, that'll have kind of settled a lot of nerves, I'd imagine, and maybe even kind of start a bit of a fear of missing out bandwagon. Do you think?
Yeah, he's the most. He's not the most anyway. He's almost level with Gundogan. They both have 318,000 transfers in this game week. They both have a double game week. They're by far the most transferred in players ahead of this double game week 24.
Yeah.
Right? That was just 23 just gone by. Yeah. So, like, it's what? Monday? Now, we know they've got a double, but, like, the good thing about someone like those City players are going to shoot up the rankings, especially Gundogan. He's breaking the game. He's just so cheap, and he's getting a goal. Like, he's got 13 points. If he'd scored that penalty, he'd be on 20.
Yeah, I'm sitting there as a non-Gundogan owner going, I need to sort this out. You know,
he's playing better than KDB for a longer period than KDB has played in any single game this season.
Yeah.
Like, when KDB comes back, I'm not buying KDB for Gundogan. Gundogan's staying right where he is. Even if his position might change a bit, well, if it changes too much, it'll be a shame. But like, he was doing this while KDB was on the pitch.
Yeah, he was. The question I wonder will be if KDB goes back to penalties, does Gundogan stay on him, especially now that he's missed one at Anfield? Or, you know, with Aguero, he's back in first team training now as well. So does he go up the pecking order with City penalties? I suppose there are questions that we'll have answered over the next couple of weeks, but before we get too far into game week 23, my low light this week, I suppose it's one that's been talked about non-stop, so I won't spend too long on it, but that's Souček red card in the... Otherwise, I was happy enough with that West Ham Fulham 0-0. I mean, I had Souček. I don't really care if he scores or not. I got him at a 4.9 price, so... You know, he's coming off the back of some massive fucking points over the last few game weeks. If he gets a blank, that's to be expected. I was more worried about Antonio, who went into this as, I'd imagine, probably like third highest captain. Don't remember which I was checking, but I know at one stage, especially amongst the Twitter bubble, it was all Antonio. So I was fucking freaking out that he'd go mad, and he didn't. He blanked and looked tired and came off holding his hamstring. So
I think he asked to come off. He kind of looked like he was kind of going, I don't know if he was injured, but it kind of looked like he was like, I'm knackered.
Yeah.
He was walking around for a while before. And I remember thinking, oh, this is kind of Excuse me, because I was looking at him too.
Yeah.
We actually mentioned on last week's pod. We said we can both go from Brewster straight to Antonio. And part of the reason I got Pope this week was to resist that urge. I said I'm just going to have to gamble against him because I have decided my plan, and we'll probably speak about it in a while. What I'm going to do for these upcoming double game weeks in 26, I'm going to bench boost. So I don't want to be bringing somebody in who's only got one single game in that week. And I believe, are they playing City that game week?
Which
I'd have to double check this. Game week 26.
yeah,
City are going to have they're playing City, so like I've got Cresswell and I've got Suchek. I'm gonna have to get rid of those guys out of my team. Well, maybe not Suchek, but I want to get rid of. Want to diversify my portfolio if I'm going to bench boost that week and bring in double game week players, which we'll know more about at the end of this week. So I didn't want to bring in Antonio and then have to get rid of him, even though he had 2 good games, especially when he could get injured any minute. So I said, no, I'll just have to pray against Antonio, and I know how this goes. So I got in Pope to resist the urge.
Yeah. You thought Pope will help you pray against Antonio, you know? And
well, I was like, I'm not going to take a hit for Antonio. I knew that I wasn't going to take a hit for Antonio. So I just prayed against him, and it went really well. I was delighted. And Cresswell then got me the 9 points. I was like yourself, didn't really care about Suchek blanking. He's done his business. And then to see him sent off was bullshit. Yeah. It's been rescinded already. So, yeah, that would have been my low light had it not been for just benching DCL.
Benching the shit ton of points. No,
not even benching DCL, just conceding the goal against United and dropping 2 needless points, you know?
Yeah, no, I said it like before, like it's my low point, not necessarily from an FPL perspective, but certainly from a footballing perspective. Like that just, you know, it really pissed me off on Saturday evening, I think it was, and I was just like, you know, you just left looking at the TV going like, what am I watching? What are the commentators watching? What is everyone watching that Mike Dean isn't watching? Do you know? And how does it go so wrong? 2 weeks in a row. I mean, whatever about the Bednarek one, this was just an absolute farce of a red card. And yeah, they've rescinded it, but they ain't gonna give us back our fucking three points. So fat how good that does. I even said it to you that I'd nearly rather it stuck. It would make things a lot easier for the next upcoming fixtures if Suchek was to be missing a few. It would definitely make the switch to Gundogan a whole lot easier for me.
That would have made it a nice, easy, don't have to think about it move. He's missing 3 games, but yeah, I'm delighted he got it rescinded because they have a lovely game against Sheffield. So now you get a tough decision. Probably not going to sell him against Sheffield, but who would you get rid of in your team? You know, that's your question.
That is, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, my high point of the week. It was basically, it boiled down to this week, it was kind of one of the toughest decisions, not just transfer-wise and benching-wise. There was a lot of decisions to be made this week, but for me, it was like a captain decision. Do I play it safe, like yourself, with Fernandez, or do I take the ballsiest of risks and put so ballsy that I put the captain...
We got into this the other day.
We did. I think the fans would be on, or the listeners would be on my side. In terms of, you know, putting the captain's armband on a man who is, you know, in a dreadfully out of form team against, you know, the likes of Fernandez, who is on penalties and is playing in the team with a team who's, you know, on massive form, I think definitely was a bit more risky than. Especially when you're in the top 100k like me, you're kind of going like, I don't need to be doing stupid shit here. I can just play it nice and safe, chip away. But, you know, I had Son, you know, what's the point of having him in? And I'll set the scene. So basically, I'm sitting there Sunday morning. I'm supposed to be at work. And I am technically at work. But I've got the match on the television. The stadium, Spurs Stadium, White Hart Lane, it goes black as the night, and then suddenly, boom, explosion out of nowhere.
That's gotta be Kane!
You're damn right. Harry fucking Kane coming out.
Were you waiting for me to come in?
No, I hope there was an audio bed playing there. If it wasn't, I've just made an absolute fool of myself.
Oh, I was wondering. I didn't hear anything, so that's why I was like, when is he going to start playing this here? Sorry, you said not to interrupt, but I couldn't hear anything.
Well, you wouldn't hear it. It's it would be on the stream, but it's okay. This just makes us look even more lovable in amateur. If there wasn't an audio bit on the YouTube version, there's going to be one in the actual Spotify podcast. But yeah, Harry Kane, he surprised a lot of FPL managers this week with a quick return to the starting lineup for Spurs and made it an instant impact with a goal, and you gotta just kind of the Harry Kane Son duo, teaming up once again. That made my weekend. That was my highlight. Seeing Son score, and especially, it was 67 minutes, 78 minutes, kind of area of the match where you're thinking, oh, this could go either way, a blank here, and I'm, just annoyed that I even had the audacity to captain Son. But no, he came good, and he got the 2 baps as well. So a 10-point return. That was my
2
highlight.
baps out of nowhere. After several minutes after being taken off the pitch, all of a sudden he's bumped up to 2 baps. But I believe it was for the passing bonus. He completed about a certain amount of passes to get into the extra BPS, which brought him into the bonus. But yeah, that was quite disappointing, because before then I was like, okay, 8 points, Bruno 7, 1 point difference. Not going to worry about it. I'm still not worried about the extra 2 bonus he got. Bruno was on for 3 bonus until United fucking started throwing it away. So what can you do? And neither of those were even at that point. Neither of those were my top point scorers of the team. My top point scorer was Gundogan, even after his penalty miss. And then my next one was probably Calvert-Lewin, who's on my bench. So more annoyed at that than Son's 2 bonus.
Yeah. What does that bring you up to now? I'm sure you're on a nice healthy green arrow.
Yeah, let's pull it up here. Just to go on, seeing as you're talking about the ballsy captain pick, Son was the second most captained player in the top 10k this game week, 24% captaincy. Bruno at 44%, and the real ballsy move was Antonio with just under 21% captaincy, which was a blank. And you know what? I would have thought if I brought him in, I would have given him strong consideration. He's likely to get you 1 point by going off injured after 10 minutes, which is the real risk. How did my own live rank go? It's a nice big green arrow, 84 points. I would have broken 100 points this week if I played the right goalkeeper and played Dominic Calvert-Lewin for Souček, especially. That would have been an extra 12 points. So 84 points sees me go from 492k up to, after auto subs, 363. So it's like a 26% change according to my rank. So I'm kind of in a good spot now. Slowly just tipping away. It's been a real slog this season. I'm just making a lot of bad decisions, but I've taken a few hits not last week or the week before, but the few weeks building up to that, to get my team exactly how I want it right now. And I don't really want to rip it apart to just get in double game week players, but I need to attack the double game week. Otherwise, I'm not going to go anywhere. So my team is fine this week. I've got the double game week 24 is coming up, and I've got 3 City players. I've got 2 defenders and Gundogan. I've got Nick Pope in goals, which is the kind of Burnley player I want, and I have Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah,
so
we'll get into a bit more detail and what your plans are for game week 24 shortly. But before we do, I'm again, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm on a green arrow as well.
Tell me yours, because you were on a big green arrow. It was this last game, the 12 points from Dallas here, and everyone has Bamford, so I'm not worried about that. But those 12 points have allowed me to take you over. Before that, you were the one in game week points, not in not in the actual OR. God no, I'm miles behind you. 72 points behind you or something like that.
Yeah. What was your overall score this week? Just to clarify.
84.
Yes. So you got 84. I got 80. So a massive 4 points gained on me there. Seamus, well done.
But my point is, if I played like 2 of the players that I have who did well for you, I would be on an extra 19 points. I'd be on 103 points this week.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it, Seamus? If my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bicycle and all that. But I got 80 points. I'm up to 47.763. So 48k up from, what was I? Something like 67. So I was 67k before the start, up 28.85%. I love this live FPL site. They're constantly updating it. So I don't know if anyone.
Have you ever checked out fplgameweek.com?
No, I haven't.
That's the new one I'm on to now. That's great as well. They're both very good.
Any chance to throw us an sponsor there and get us in the bankroll? No.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know whose website this is, so I don't even know who to get on to try and get sponsorship. But if we keep throwing it out there and tagging them,
Yeah, tag them
then
and everything.
maybe
That's the plan.
tagging them and everything, we might get some sponsorship.
But yeah, no, that was game week 23. I mean, we could look through the fixtures a bit further if we wanted, but there isn't a whole lot that we won't be discussing when we look ahead. But looking just off the top of my head there, I mean, the Man City Liverpool match, we kind of talked about City already. We've talked about United. The Villa had a great result, 1-0. Martinez owners, in the points once again. They're fucking loving it. What did he get? 2 bonus this week. Watkins scoring again. I think that's what's that? 4 goals in his last 5 matches now, and
Yeah,
a nice
and 3 bonus points to boot.
3 bonus
He hasn't
points
got
to
bonus
boot.
in ages. He's got like 6, 6, 2, 6. He's got the 9 this week. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
he's got
he's doing really well.
an okay run of fixtures. There's just some lovely fucking mid-price forwards out there right now. DCL, Bamford getting some more points tonight as well in that Leeds 2-0 victory over Crystal Palace. Bamford coming out with another goal. So like he's on what? 1 goal, 3 assists and 2 goals in the last 3 games. Do you know what I mean? 2 goals, 3 assists. So it's like he's back in form, especially after people, shipping him after his 59th minute appearance in game week 20 and blanking against Newcastle. That was a lot of people's kind of final straw. Fuck you, you're out of here for DCL or whatever. Watkins, who is tipping away, as we said. But yeah, he's been on a bit of a nice old run since then, delivering as I said, 26 points, in 3 game weeks. What more do you want from a striker that started the season as 5.5? I'm just a little bit annoyed that I didn't get on him straight away. I needed a bit
Yeah.
of convincing with him.
Surprisingly, if you sort players by form
Mm-hmm.
in the transfer sheet, amongst forwards, he's top. I would have thought Antonio would be doing better than him. Watkins would be ahead of him. Maybe Calvert-Lewin. All these 4 forwards, and the most expensive is Calvert-Lewin at 7.6. The rest of them are all under 7. So yeah, but Bamford is top there, tied with Antonio actually. To be fair, and as you can imagine, like Gundogan is top in the overall defenders. Sanchez, surprisingly, is top in goalkeepers with averaging 6 in the form. And I don't think anyone would be surprised to see Justin, after getting 9 points this week and 15 points last week, is top in the defenders form.
Yeah.
So, like, there you go. I mean, Bamford, the cheap forwards is the way to go, and it gives you so much budget. Not that we need budget because the premiums aren't really doing it, but as you said, with the return of Harold Kane, that's something to stand up and take notice of.
It is, and that brings us nicely into the doubles for game week 24 and beyond, because while Spurs might not have a double game week this week, it's just City, Everton, Burnley, and who's it? Fulham. Yeah, it's just those 4.
Yeah.
So while Spurs don't have a double this week, they certainly have a really nice run of fixtures.
Yeah, this is the thing. So, the teams that are playing this week, we said Burnley, Fulham, Everton, Man City. So Burnley and Fulham both have played 22 games. Of all the other teams that haven't played 23 games, you're looking at Southampton and Leeds still have to have fixture rearranged, but that's 25. Okay, and then you're looking at Aston Villa have only got 21, so they've got 2 games in hand, as do Everton. And Man City have got 22. So, like, with Man City's progress in the cups, you're probably looking at further. I mean, they're almost certainly going to have a blank in 29, assuming they get through the FA Cup this week. So they're going to have probably a double 26. They're restricted in that they can't have midweek games in 27 or 28, so they could have double game weeks 25 as well. It's all kind of up in the air. And Ben Crellin is the man to look at the permutations for, but you definitely want to be on Triple City. And for me, assuming Spurs and Liverpool have double game weeks 26, I have to make a decision on, wait, I'm going to bench boost this game week 26. So I got to decide, do I want Kane or do I want Salah? I don't think I can have both.
Yeah.
And
Before
I don't think I want to sell Son.
I get you.
Double either.
Before we look, I know. I also apologies to anyone that might have been thrown off there. I think there might have been audio issues on my end. My fucking mic didn't seem to be on there when I transitioned screen. But hey, that's the life of a content creator, as they say. But just before we look at 26, Seamus, 24, Spurs, Everton, Fulham and City, or not Spurs, Everton. City are playing Spurs and Everton. Everton are playing Fulham and City. Burnley, Crystal Palace and Fulham, and Fulham, Everton, Burnley. Like you mentioned already, you have your 3 City players, so you're set with that, right? I don't have 3 City players. I just have Stones. So I'm obviously looking to move towards City, not just with 24 in mind, also with double 26 and 27 ahead of us. But what would your advice be to the likes of myself who isn't entirely prepped with their City coverage? Are you advocating 2 defenders and one midfielder, or what's the story? Because I'm tempted with Sterling.
Yeah, I assume you have a plan in mind anyway, but what's your? I don't even know what you've got. Calvert-Lewin, you're going to play him.
Well, just looking at City, like what? I just have Stones. So like, where?
Do you only have 2 players across all of those teams still? Is that right?
Yeah, I have Calvert-Lewin and John Stones. So I'll be using all my transfers to I'll probably take a -4 this week.
What's your bank?
My bank is a crazy amount of bank. It's
Jesus.
Yeah.
6.5.
6.5 million in the bank. It's an insane amount. So like, I'm not worried about money. I am I do need to look ahead in regards to. So who's on my mind this week to clarify is Sterling. But if I was to go with Sterling, then that would pretty much rule out Harry Kane. And part of me is thinking, do I just go Gundogan? Do I just take the nice easy, really well priced defender or midfielder, or do I just kind of look for that higher ceiling, even though I don't know if you could say he has a higher ceiling at the moment with Gundogan's recent returns, but look for that kind of higher output in Sterling. Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is something that it should be noted, just looking at the differentials. As differentials, Sterling is more of a differential. He's 12.3% owned. He's been on great form. He's got 3 goals in his last 4 games. He's got 4 in his last 6. He didn't play a minute of that Sheffield United game. If the fixtures are too easy, he could just be rotated. But Spurs and Everton look like the sort of games this week where he's going to play both, because you're not going to just walk past Everton or Spurs. So I think he'll start and play both of those games. I don't think he'll be rested after getting 8, blank, 11, 3, 8. And look, the game before that, he had a missed penalty. So he could have had even points in that game. I would definitely be tempted by him. It's a lot of money. I don't know.
Like, I mean, he's starting to find that form.
Gundogan's in better form.
Yeah, he is.
Gundogan's in better form. That's the other thing. He's got 3 double-digit hauls in his last 4 games. He's got 6 goals in his last 7 games. 6 goals in his last 6 games plus an assist. Ton of bonus points. He's on penalties as well. That's the thing to take into account here. Do we know when Kevin's back? He's not back this week.
No, I'm not aware when Mr. De Bruyne is coming back. But I am, it's not necessarily Sterling or Gundogan, because I do only have the one defender in John Stones. I could say, no, fuck it, I'm going Sterling and Gundogan. Upgrade Grealish and Souček. I have the money there to do it.
I think, I don't know about getting rid of Grealish, because any day now they're probably going to be announcing a load of doubles. As I said, they've got 2 games in hand that's got to be squeezed in here, and he's going to play 90 minutes every game, you would think. So I would normally say a second City defender is the way I would go about it. I'd nearly even consider 3 City defenders if Gundogan wasn't in such good form.
Yeah.
But Spurs at home with Harry Kane back now, that could there could be a goal. Although we know how Josie's going to play. Now I'd consider 3 City defenders before I'd probably consider Sterling, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do Tree City Defenders, but I get where you're coming from. I think Tree City Defenders is so fucking boring. I don't want to be so praying for a fucking clean sheet. I mean, yeah, double one is one thing, but three of them, get out of my face. You know, I want to be
I'm
looking for
happy with two though. I'm
goals.
happy with two. Yeah, but no, I'm delighted with Cancelo, Gundogan, and so. I mean, if I was going to be picky, I'd prefer to have Diaz rather than Stones. But you know, at the time I was making the transfer, I couldn't afford that. So no, I'm delighted. I think you should. You got to think strong and hard about the Gundo versus Sterling debate. You could get both, man. You could try both, and then that gives you an option if you wanted to go to KDB if from Sterling later on if you really really felt like it. But I don't know. Are you going to captain Sterling this week if you get him?
That's the thing.
It's
If I
worth it
if
you're
I
going to
get him, I
captain
am going to captain him. Do you know?
Yeah.
But I could, if I get Gundogan, I'll probably captain him too. Which is why I'm surprised you were considering Pope. I'm like, is Gundogan not the clear captain option?
I find it hard. Yeah, I don't know why. I find it hard to put the captain's armband on Gundogan.
But you
I
put it
know
on a
he doesn't.
defender? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something happens every double game week where, and we saw it the last time, like defenders and goalkeepers always get, big hauls. I'm kind of half thinking of putting a triple captaincy on fucking Pope, if I'm honest.
Shades of Shane Duffy there, Seamus.
I know, that's the thing. The problem I have, but I didn't triple captain Shane Duffy, but I did put an armband on him. You see, you keep thinking I triple captain him. I didn't.
I just said shades of Shane Duffy in the FPL. I meant it in the general sense, but I get you. I did that a couple episodes ago.
I don't know, because I can't. I would like to triple captain in game week 26, like Spurs. If Spurs have a double there, it's probably going to be a nice one. Like Ben Crellin, what does he say they'll have?
Burnley and either Villa, Fulham, or Southampton. That's the options.
Sheffield.
Not in 26.
Oh, Southampton. No, sorry. I'm looking at Villa there. Yeah. So, I mean, Crystal Palace plus any one of those three. Well, Villa might be tough, but Fulham or Southampton,
Burnley.
You definitely want Harry Kane for that one. So I think,
and it's not just that one. I mean, like there's also 27 and 28 potentially. So he could be, have three double game weeks in a row. Which is kind of fucking insane when you think about it.
Yeah. So I think that's why I think I need to have Harry Kane for that. Now I don't need him. He's got a good game this week. No, that's 23. He's got a bad game this week in Man City. The West Ham game doesn't inspire me with a lot of confidence, but 26 through 28, I'm going to want him. Yeah. This is assuming they beat Everton or Southampton beat Wolves. If either of those scenarios happen, then they have the 29 blank. So
it's kind of why it's a bit tough this week doing the pod, in the sense that like we want to give advice for 25, 26 and looking forward, because this is where every FPL manager should have their head now. It's not looking at 24 necessarily. I mean, yeah, you're looking at 24, but who you get rid of and any moves you make need to be with 25, 26, 27, 28 in mind. And as we said already, we're not going to know a whole lot until the FA Cup matches are done and some rescheduling has been announced. But everyone's in the same boat, and I don't know. I think Harry Kane's a must-have. Sterling, not so much. Are there any other players that you can have your eye on for the doubles, like looking particularly now at 26?
26. So we'll keep Son. And we already mentioned Kane. I think to facilitate Kane, though, I'm thinking I'm coming off of Liverpool, who'll have a double as well. It feels odd to like sell Salah ahead of a double game week.
Yeah.
But like they've got Chelsea in that double
and
with
Sheffield.
Their new manager. Yeah, and Sheffield, who are finally started winning some games and aren't conceding a ton of goals. They will lose games 1-0, 2-0. Salah could get to 2 goals in a 2-0 win. But Liverpool just haven't been scoring a whole lot of goals. His goal against City the other day was a penalty. I don't feel full confidence. You probably want him back from 27. And the chances of them having that Chelsea double in that game week comes down to Chelsea having to beat Barnsley in the FA Cup, which is calculated as like bookies odds, 84% likelihood. So you have to think that's going to happen. Yeah, so I'm thinking sell Salah, work towards Kane, which means probably bringing in Grealish.
Yeah.
I like their fixtures. I mean, even if they get, like you mentioned, Spurs having a potential double there in doubles in 26, 27, and 28. Like Aston Villa are down on the spreadsheet as potentially could still be announced that it's possible to get a double game week 25 if their Everton or Sheffield United game in hand is rescheduled there. Then 26 is probably going to be one. Should Sheffield United be? It's at Bristol City. Then you've got possible 27, 28. No, it has to be Villa is the other way into it. Whether it's Watkins or whether it's Grealish. But if I downgrade Salah, it seems obvious to go to Grealish.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on your money a little bit. I am a Grealish owner. I'm sitting on big super fucking calves himself, and I'm like, I like having Grealish. He's everything kind of flows through him from Villa, but I also don't mind getting rid of him. That's the thing. I mean, obviously, looking, as you said, at Villa's fixtures, it makes it a lot more difficult with the upcoming doubles. That's what's keeping me off, like, potentially 25, 26, 27, 28. All doubles for Villa. They have so many matches to be rescheduled. But, like, I have Martinez in goals. I've no problem getting the likes of Watkins in because I haven't jumped on Antonio or anything. So I have that spot for Brewster. Like, again, do you go? There's just so many feckin' variables at the moment that it's a bit of a head wreck. Another team that, another player that people are eyeing up pretty heavily right now, and based on his recent performances, it's not a big surprise. Marcus Rashford looked really good against Everton there in game week 23. He's got West Brom next week, followed by Newcastle, and then also has a double Chelsea Crystal Palace in 26. Most likely. So, like, another nice run of fixtures. Seamus, thoughts on Rashford? You're not with him?
Yeah, he's the one player this week when I looked at their next two games that I was like, ooh, someone like Rashford would be really nice. With keeping in mind I'm talking about selling Salah, he probably will have a double. All they have to, well, like I say, probably they still have to beat West Ham, who are, the percentage odds is given as 73%, but I don't think United are 73% likely to beat West Ham. I think it's a bit closer to 50-50 in that game, so it could easily go to West Ham. Who've been playing well recently. Yeah. I think they've kind of got tough games in that one. So, like, Crystal Palace beat them, 4-1 at Old Trafford this year, I believe? Was it 3-1?
3-2 was... Crystal Palace. 3-2, I think.
They smashed them. Yeah, Wolves did bits. And, but the next one, West Brom and Newcastle, you got to think there's goals in there. So maybe it's just worth bringing in for 2 weeks and then swap him out to Grealish at that week. So I am thinking I might make a move there this week.
Well, you wouldn't swap him out if the double got confirmed. That's the thing. You're not going to take a player out when they have Chelsea and Crystal Palace. I know I wouldn't be anyway. I think that's a bit of a waste of a transfer. But hey, I'm talking to the madman who's thinking of dropping Salah.
Well, you got to focus your transfers this week, Jer. You've got 2, you said.
Yeah, see, so I do, for sure.
On players. Yeah, you got to focus on players who've got a double in 26 and 24.
But there's a lot better. There's a lot more prepared managers out there who already have the triple city. That's the issue. Like, I feel like I'm one of the few who I'm like, I only have the 5 million defender. Fuck, I need to get on this team who are, like, I don't know, unbeaten in the last since the West Brom or since whatever, like 13 games, something like that. That's insane,
Yeah, I think you're overthinking it. I think you're kind of going, look, these are all the highly owned players: Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, Gundogan, and you're like, maybe I should pivot for Sterling. As I said, if that's going to prevent you from getting improvements in other areas, it's going to, if that putting the money in there is going to prevent you from getting Watkins, if it's going to prevent you from getting Kane in a few weeks, if you're going to have to take a -4 to eventually go for Kane, I wouldn't even bother. Sterling is probably just as likely to get the same amount of points as Gundogan as Cancelo. Cancelo got 17 points a couple of weeks ago, so. Or Diaz, who's like nailed every game, is probably like Cancelo could be rested in one of these 2 games. You also have
the Champions League coming back up for City. That's worth noting.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But that's why they can't have a double game week in 28. I think you got to focus on City, man, or Burnley. But there's only really maybe Ben Mee or Tarkowski or Pope that you really want from Burnley. Chris Woods is injured.
For 24, is it?
For 24, you're probably not going to go for, but maybe you want to go for like someone like Dean. I think Dean would be a player I'd like to have, and I may have in my game week 26 team. They've got kind of good fixtures, but I don't think I'll be bringing them in this week. I don't expect anything against Man City. And Fulham, you're talking about really punting. If Souček had been suspended, maybe you'd look at someone like Ademola Lookman.
Yeah. I think Areola offers a decent shout. I'm not really looking at him, but Everton, Burnley, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, all in the next 4 matches. It's like they're, and the double obviously in 26, potential double in 27, potential double in 28, they are if you were looking to bench boost, I think the likes of Areola is kind of a nice sub keeper or second keeper. But you said you're not looking to bench boost. You're looking to, or you are looking to bench boost. Is it in 26?
I am looking to bench boost in 26. That's why I brought in Pope. So in that game week, I'm going to have Pope and I'm going to have Martinez, hopefully both with doubles, decent doubles as well, by the looks of it. And then I'm going to have my triple city all doubling. I've this is now making assumptions here. I'm assuming that it's very, very highly likely they're going to have doubles. It's very highly likely that, actually, no, it's 50-50 that Calvert-Lewin will have a double. No, he'll certainly have one because they've got another game they have to have rescheduled. So if they don't get their FA Cup game rescheduled, it's just as likely they'll get like the Villa game rescheduled or something. So yeah, I'm probably going to have those. And yeah, you're talking about getting rid of I'll keep my Leeds players, I think, because Leeds have a somewhat good game against Aston Villa. I think Bamford got a hat-trick in that game earlier in the season, so I'll probably keep him for that. That way, if Martinez does nothing, maybe Bamford does something, and I'll need him for 29 because I'm fucked in 29 otherwise. It's just getting rid of my West Ham players. I think in game week 25 and 26 is what the plan is. Moving towards it, maybe take a points hit, go all out using that bench boost for 26, and try and find another spot to play the triple captainship. And when these FA Cup games have been announced and some fixtures are rescheduled, if I can see a good opportunity to use it. If I can't see a good opportunity to use it, I might do it this week.
This week,
Pope or maybe Gundogan. But could do it if we hear before that. We see what the 26 fixtures are, and I'm not going to bench boost, and I can't see any other spot where maybe I want to put it on someone like Kane or Bruno. Then I could put it on a City player, but it's risky with the Champions League back in rotation.
It's just an insane amount of options and variables floating around the place at the moment. I mean, I love it from an FPL manager's point of view. This is exactly the kind of game that, I like playing, something that I know is difficult, especially for, someone who might be a little bit more casual, but like anyone that takes it seriously, and I know, fucking most of us, especially anyone listening to this, probably eats, fucking breathes and sleeps FPL, and especially if they've gotten this far into the fucking podcast, 45 minutes. But to me, it is just that there's a shit ton of options out there. It's gonna wreck my head, but it's the kind of the good head wrecking that I enjoy. But for anyone feeling down, we've got a question in this week. Paulie at D Hanio. He says, where's the best place to look for divine inspiration? His love for fantasy football is waning, but he'll keep chugging along. And also, our son Kane back on the table, seeing as Harry is risen from the dead. Dealing with the first part, where's the best place to look for divine inspiration? If you're falling out of love a little bit, or you're getting a bit of burnout or fucking FPL fatigue. Seamus, you're one to talk about that, because you're always whinging about feeling fatigued from FPL.
Yeah, it's the kind of incessant nature of this season where it's just game after game. And I think I've heard it mentioned in other pods. I definitely would agree.
You listen to other podcasts?
Of games. I do indeed, and steal their content. No, I'd like to.
Everything.
You hear a lot of nonsense. You hear a lot of nonsense on this pod right now. But what I will say is you take everything.
You only hear nonsense if I actually manage to get the audio working. No, it isn't. I'm just still pissy about the last time. Go on, yeah.
Yeah, but what I would say is it's a slow drip feed of games. Having like 4 games on a Saturday, but one after the other is the thing that would wreck your head. The game we just gone, not the one 23, but 22, I think it was, where you had the midweek games and you had like 4 games or 5 games like in a 2 or 3 hour period. I was like, boom, that's perfect. That's how you want it. You want all the games to be out. You know what your points are.
I'm actually the opposite. I know I'm in the minority there, and what you're saying is definitely the general consensus with the drip feed, but I love the drip feed. I get to watch every fucking game because I don't have a goddamn DVR that's taping matches, or I go back and watch it later. I can't do that. So the fact that I get to stick them on the TV there, it's that's right up my alley.
Yeah, I get it. I find it bad for my mental health because I'm getting too like I'm watching the one game and everything's all about this game is going to ruin my rank, and then the next game's like my rank. It's like too much of a roller coaster. So I'd rather just get it all together in one dose, and that's how it would normally be in seasons
But
past. So it's different
when you're
and
feeling
it's
down, Seamus, like what do you do to pick yourself back up? Regards to FPL, not in real life. I don't care.
easy. Yeah, easy. Points hits. That's the way to do it. If you're falling out of love with it, I swear to God, if you're falling out of love with the game
No,
and you're
you
kind
do
of going,
not
oh, this is a
tell someone to
slog.
go on tilt when they're fucking feeling down in it.
No. If you're not enjoying the game and it's been a bit of a struggle, set your team up. Now, obviously, take points hits with some knowledge. Kind of look up how your team is. Don't be doing like what Steve was doing there this week and taking points hits to get in Alonso. When your team is perfectly fine and you would have been on a much better score had you not taken unnecessary hits. But like that's our mate Steve who hit in Alonso. Took a -8 this week, which included
and
getting
getting out 2
Alonso.
City players. That's the real fucking pile of shit.
And got rid of 2 City players just before they announced the double. Yeah, that's
it
a
was
lack of
after they
patience
announced
there.
it.
Like,
He did it on Saturday. Yeah.
what? It's almost like he doesn't listen to us.
I'm starting to think this is falling on deaf ears. Yeah.
I think he turns off after half.
But going
hour.
back to Paulie's question, I don't blame him. Most people do.
Yeah, take hits, man. Get your team in it, set up in a way, that you like. Come up with a strategy, whatever it is, and take hits and kind of just play to your strategy and just boom, step back and just let's see how it plays out. And if it's not working, take some more hits. But I'm taking like a -16. Just take like a -4. Take a -4 the following week. -4 again if you need to.
Do not condone that. That's Seamus' side. 100% support his opinion. I am the opposite. Take it out on your family and your loved ones, like a normal person. Don't take it out on your FPL team. But no, it's honestly, seriously, like if shit's if shit is kind of I see where Seamus is coming from. Like if you're kind of yeah, it's not fucking tickling your ball sack at the moment, then yeah, dude, have a bit more fun with it. It is just a fucking game. Just do whatever the hell.
Enjoy the game. More. Play the game.
But the second part of his question, are Son and Kane back on the table, seeing as Harry has risen? Like we kind of touched on it already, but in general, yeah, I think with Harry Kane back, how could they not be? Seamus, I mean, you're already looking at him. I think if you're not bench boosting, we mentioned the variables there in 26 and stuff. If you're not bench boosting in 26, your team isn't kind of looking like it's set for a bench boost, or you've already used your bench boost, the likes of a triple captain, is just right there on potentially, obviously once this is all confirmed, for the likes of Spurs. So for me, I have still got Son, so I'm just going to stick with him. Harry Kane, he's going to be hot property and someone I'll also be looking to bring in. So I'm definitely giving a thumbs up to Son and Kane. They are back from the dead. What about you, Seamus?
Yeah, again, there's no immediate rush. I mean, I have Son, so that's a hold. I'm not going to sell. I'd like to have both. I mean, they're the only two that interest me from Spurs anyway. Not really looking at a defender. There's other defenders doing just quite well. But yeah, that looks like a fine double, especially if they get probably more so if they get Southampton. They already put 5 past Southampton, or was it 6 earlier this season?
You still have Son anyway, don't you?
Yeah, I'll keep Son. I'd sell Salah before I'd sell Son, like I said earlier. But Kane is definitely the one I want to get in. His ownership is low at the minute. A lot of sales over the last while because he was injured and was other cheaper options there.
I think he's effective.
So there's your opportunity.
1% or 2%, just under 2% or something like that.
It's crazy. I couldn't believe it was so low. I was like, surely he's still in 20% of teams, but if he is, they're all dead
not all.
teams.
Shout out to FPL Dave there, who fucking held on to Kane and played him this week to great effect. So not all, but yeah, the vast majority, Seamus, are definitely dead teams.
And but you kind of I think we've seen this with Kane before with Son earlier on this season. He only missed 2.5 games as it turned out. So he lost. He went from 3.7 million owners to 1.4. He's lost over 2 million owners. It's crazy. So yeah, he's overall ownership is 19.5, but yeah, his effective ownership in the top million is probably 5%. So that's a place where that's going to go up. You may want to get in on that early. I'd go in early on Son or Kane. I don't think I'd be transferring in Son this week against City. I wouldn't transfer in either this week against City, but the following week then would I transfer in? Who are they playing? I can't even find them in the ticker. Oh yeah, West Ham. Probably not rushing there, but then 26, 27, 28. Let's see if they're doing better. They're still playing shite, really. anyone can beat West Brom 2-0.
Let's see is right. So look, we'll wrap Double Game Week 24 and whatever else we yamming on about there in a bow for a little bit. Again, I know it's a bit all over the place, and you know what we're saying, there's lots of ifs, ands and buts, but hey, that's fucking the state of the game at the moment. Anyone saying different needs a kick in the hole. But we will have, podcasts next week and all the usual shit. So we'll be looking at, obviously, the more cemented fixtures and whatnot. You mightn't have podcast, Seamus, but we have a special surprise in store that, hopefully we'll get to announce next week. Or surprise you with next week. Who knows? Before we wrap up, Seamus, I want to touch on the FPL Hangover Mini League. It should be relatively updated now. I have it up on the screen. Number 1 is still our arch nemesis, Drew from FPL Renegades. He smashed it again this week, 91 points. He did bench boost, so smash and score, that'll fucked him up the rankings a bit more, and he's still on top. He's on top by a nice chunky 36 points as well. So the top 5 in ascending order. You know what, I'll do the top 10 because I have time. Number 10, We Live on Earth 616, Yavendra Ray. He got 61 points this week. Number 9, The Tita Suarez by Paddy Pa. He got 64. The Orgazoids, Peter Scully in 72. In 7th place, Shark Team Prav Gill 75. 6th place is myself, 80 points. 5th place, Game of Thrones, Abel Grant 71. 4th place, Ken Rogues FC, Ken Corbally 61 points. 3rd place, Gigs Bosun, Michael Haywood 83. 2nd place, Flying Without Ings, Camarul Arifin 61 points. And as I said, number 1, FPL Renegades, Drew. Fair fucks to you. He did have a captain blank and he still came out of this with 91 points. But Seamus, having a look at it there, no one cracked the triple digits this week, not from what I can see. But
no, Drew came close with his bench boost, and so did the only other bench boost this week, which was FPL Rogue with 97 points. So a bit cheeky with the bench boost, but it actually was the right way to do it. I would have been, what did I have on my bench?
24
an
points.
extra 24 points or something on my bench. Even if I just made the right captaincy, or not even right captaincy, right transfer decisions, I would have broke 100. But I think that's true of many other people, so I'm not going to be like, I'm such a fucking genius, when I'm obviously not. But look, there was a few that got very close, and look, I just want to just keep climbing up. You're into the top 6 right now. I can see why you went for top 10 instead of top 5 this week. But look, Drew has pulled away 30 points at the top from Flying Without Ings. Like, he made 30 points on that guy this week, and now he's like 38 points out. He's in the top 4K. So,
but look, we don't need to focus on Drew. He's going to do enough fucking bragging on their own show. FPL Renegades, check those lads out. But we can give a shout out to FPL Rogue, as you said, 97 points with his bench boost. Seamus, that makes him what?
That makes him our manager of the week.
There we have it. Have it. So fair play to you, Niall. Rogue Against the Machine, that's his blog, Rogue Against the Machine blog post or something like that. Check it out. Some very interesting reads there. And delighted to have a manager of the week that I recognise. I didn't even realise it till literally right there when we started talking. But that's this week's. Sorry, James.
I just said good stuff.
Is Neil. It Neil? Is it? I call him Niall. That's never going to change. I'm going to get that wrong. No matter what I do, I'll get that wrong. But so fair play to you lads. Seamus, before we wrap this show up, you got the nasty details that you will share with everyone.
Yeah, if you want to be part of this FPL Hangover mini league
it's
as well,
too late.
Guys, okay? You should be in there already. It's too late. We've closed, actually. I was going to say join the league.
If you really want part of it.
Well, there goes my... If you really want a part of it, maybe DM us. Okay, you'll find us at FPL Hangover on Twitter, or I'm at FPL Drunk. We can make an exception if we think you're deserved enough, but other than that, the league is closed. And there is a competition for Manager of the Month for February, which is why I'm saying you may be interested in joining. So the two boys, that now makes sense why the two boys bench boosters. They want that cup,
They want the cup. I don't blame them. I mean, I already have a cup, and I know how good it is. Up yours, Ken Corbally. No.
Also, if you want to email us, you can email us fplhangover@gmail.com as always. And we're on YouTube. You should like, rate, and subscribe. If you're doing it, please give us a thumbs up or retweet on Twitter. But give us a what's it? The word I'm looking for? A review, a 5-star review on any podcast platforms you find us on.
Yeah, no, well said, Seamus. Yeah, I can only reiterate it. I hate begging, but it really makes a bit of a difference with the subscribes, and we're seeing it grow. We're one subscriber away from the triple digits on YouTube now. We've a whole 99, and it mightn't seem like a lot to some of the massive accounts out there, but we're only a fucking bunch of jokers here anyway, and it feels like a world away from where we were at the start of the season. So I'm delighted. Yeah, give us a review and all that shite. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Seamus, are you done? Do you want to say good luck to anyone?
No, well, look, I'll say to everyone, may your eyes be green this week because depending on what happens in the next week, if the wife goes early, this could be my last pod for a while. But the plan is at the minute to be here next week anyway, at the very least. I'll be back before long, but I need to take a couple of weeks off, or else
I'll have something there to replace the Seamus, even if it's just a skeleton, a la Psycho, that'll just turn around eventually, and with a I can't even put a wig on anymore. You fucking shaved it all off. But yeah, no, we'll keep you updated on Seamus's soon to be newborn baby in graphic detail. I jest, of course. I wish ye all the best for the Double Game Week 24. Enjoy it, and I'll talk to you next week, lads. God bless.